Where's Sarah?
How is Neon? Are you okay?
Are you? You're looking somewhere else.
Okay. I'll start transferring the data over now. Let me just bring it up on here at the table. Is that a prototype? No, that material isn't anything we... What the... Everyone, come take a look at this.
That's no faction vessel or Crimson Fleet. Secret military tech, maybe?
No United Colonies Admiral approved that starship design.
They call themselves the Starboard. Demanded we hand over the artifact. Like we were children, playing with their parents' things.
What do people know? Any offshoot groups go by that name?
None in any corner of the settled systems I've seen. Maybe a distant human colony finally popping its head up? Another house for me.
I very much doubt that.
We ignoring the obvious here? A heretofore unknown group who just happens to know about the artifacts. I'm just gonna say it. Intelligent alien life, or extra-dimensional beings. The original creators from the furthest fringes of space.
Or beyond even that. Is the metaphor of avenging angels coming down to keep humanity from forbidden knowledge not apt here?
So, we have a lot of theories, but nothing concrete. Except that they're after the artifacts, and they're willing to take them by force.
Or what Walter said. They were acting like a parent. Worried their children are playing with something they don't understand.
So, they're strong-arming us for our own good? That doesn't sound very divinely benevolent to me.
Noel, start analyzing all the data from the ship sensors. The gravitational wave they caused, scans of their weapons, shields, everything. We're in the dark. We need to learn anything about them we can, including some way to fight them if necessary. Until then, we stay the course, collect the artifacts. It's even more important now that an intelligence we don't know or understand is looking for them. That ship could be anywhere in deep space. Even if we got lucky, a single grav jump and we'd lose them. All we can do is be more cautious, but we are not stopping. This could end up being a race we don't want to lose. Vladimir, has the Eye picked up anything new?
Some glints of shine in the dark. Ready to hand them out as soon as you please.
All right. Good luck, everyone. And be careful out there.
We've always considered ourselves explorers, but This really is uncharted territory, isn't it?
What? I'm sorry. I wasn't paying attention. I was eating some chunks. What happened? We're going for war? What? Did happen? Ah, Jesus. Sorry, guys. I was miles away. You had a good meeting. At least.
I'd like to talk to you about something when you have the chance.
Talk.
Sarah's the best possible person to be running Constellation at a time like this. Focused, no nonsense, and dedicated. Not my first time in a hostile negotiation, as you well know. Admittedly, I usually know more about who I'm facing off against. I'm very interested in what Noel can learn from the scans. The technology on that ship was impressive, to say the least. If there's a chance, we could learn enough to duplicate some of it.
Understood. I will prepare my system to begin the diagnostics. This will run as a background process. Honey bundles of joy.
Good grief. Who did this to you, Vasco?
I do not know what you mean, Mr. Muscles.
It is kind of nice, though.
What exactly are you referring to, my precious pumpkin?
What the hell's going on there?
Vasco, please quarantine any recently modified code relating to communications.
Yes, sir.
Did Vasco called a bummy?
I got to where I am by taking advantage of opportunities no matter where I find them. Might as well make the most of this crazy situation. I do have other things that require my attention, you know. Oh, right. I was afraid you were going to bring that up again.
Jesus.
Very well. Let's see if I embarrass myself or not. My colleagues, I venture out into the darkness of space once again. Many of you have expressed concern. At my age, you say, surely the risks are too great. Surely Sebastian Banks has earned a rest. Nonsense, I say. To go out into the unknown, to brave the possibility of never coming back, to ignite the spark of hope that humanity will find answers out there in the stars, that is all I have ever wanted. If this last expedition is my time, then I say, I have been fortunate. I have been fortunate to leave, surrounded by people who could not be more different from one another, but who share a common purpose. That, dare I say, I am fortunate. My soul has a home it can always come back to. And that was the last thing Sebastian Banks ever said in the lodge before he disappeared. And Constellation has been waiting for him to come home ever since.
No comment? That was kind of beautiful.
I want you to know I was very impressed with your work back on Neon. There's no fooling you. Don't worry, this is a much lower stake opportunity. My Star Yard's been having a little trouble getting our next project off the ground. I need someone capable and decisive to step in and steer it in the right direction. Interested?
Yeah, I'm good with steering.
As you know, I'm a busy man, running a company, helping to manage Constellation's financial needs. It doesn't leave me with much time to get into the weeds with every little business venture that comes my way. Besides, think of this as a rare opportunity to help shape the future of a major consumer brand.
Wow.
Love the enthusiasm. I knew there was a reason I picked you to help with this project. It's a new ship. We want to diversify our fleet. Now, I don't know why the people I pay very handsomely to come up with new designs can't seem to get out of the R&D phase. And frankly, I don't care. I just want someone, you, to go there and show them how it's done. R&D needs to happen first whenever work starts on a new project. It's a natural stalling point since we need to make so many big decisions. In this case, we're talking about looking at our existing fleet of ships and using data we've gathered to see what consumers want. But of course, each member of the R&D team can interpret that data to suit their own confirmation bias. I'm guessing that's what we're seeing here. To be honest, I prefer it. I have professional designers, and obviously they can't do the job. They're floundering. And as I've seen firsthand, you dabble in all spectrums. Blue-collar work, exploration, fighting. I could go on. What better person to tell those overpaid muckety-mucks how to build a ship for the discerning consumer?
Fair point.
Excellent. I'll send word ahead to the project lead, Jules Degante, that you're taking point. They'll all be instructed to listen to you and follow your direction. I expect big things from you, so I'm excited to see what you manage to deliver. I don't believe you'll let me down.
Don't worry, I won't.
Forgot to check the math on a few equations. The brain's long gone. Forgetfulness.
Man, the galaxy's too big to be stuck in the same place.
Barrett, are you enjoying the food?
Hello, Cora. What are you reading these days?
I hope Cora doesn't get too much underfoot.
Wow. That sounds really... Wait. What's the author's name? From 100 years ago.
Where did you go, Pumpkin?
Yes? Never mind. Sorry. Thinking of something else. Yes, Captain. Well, that's all I have too.
Who wanted to talk to me?
My eye would be more useful to you aboard your ship than idling here awaiting tasks. Although my database of human history is not fully complete, it is quite extensive. At this time, I am unable to locate any valid references. Given the unusual nature of the encounter, it is reasonable to surmise that any earlier occasions would have been documented. One explanation is that this is the first time they have been discovered. An alternate explanation is that prior encounters resulted in 0 survivors to document the experience.
You're telling me this was some kind of a first contact? I think so too.
That is the preferred explanation, given the implications for your future survival. But it remains the case that their first interaction consisted of threats of violence.
Yep. But the big difference is that we did not respond in kind.
Sure, Sweet Pea. The old man could always use a laugh.
Okay. Who can jump higher than a...
Conversational protocols engaged.
Everybody!
I will answer your questions truthfully. Unlike you, I am incapable of lying.
Okay. Good one.
Constellation has seen to it that I possess a near encyclopedic knowledge of human history, art, culture, and science. May I answer a question for you? I have been programmed to comprehend all modern and ancient human languages. The only exception is body language. My body is crafted from reinforced metal, and therefore incompatible with such forms of expression.
Oh yeah, I like to see you dance.
Logically, I believe the correct answer to be the airplane, followed shortly by the computer. Humans could not have become a spacefaring species without them. Illogically speaking, I am inclined to believe that books were your greatest invention. I have spent a good deal of time processing works of science fiction. They make good case studies in how your species could have made a mess of its entry into the stars in different ways than you did in reality.
And you know, every science fiction starts with a kaboom.
I am looking at one. I hope that was a suitable response.
Are you
Constellation did not equip me with a sense of humor. I have done my best to mimic Barrett's.
Oh my god, the robot called me a joke. I'm sad. You might have a point. Oh my god, I got burned by a robot.
I am looking at one.
Jesus, that was brutal.
This is a difficult question to parse. I do not experience enjoyment. However, I find that the music of ancient Japan has a pleasantly mathematical sound. The same is true of the works of European composers from the Baroque period. I have dedicated significant time to processing these compositions and understanding their structure. I am prepared for your inquiry. Constellation recovered me from an abandoned lunar robotics factory on Earth's moon, where I was manufactured. I am told I was in quite a state of disrepair. Barrett elected to refurbish me after the discovery. Since then, I have been reprogrammed to be useful to Constellation. Constellation named me after the Portuguese explorer Vasco da Gama, who resided on Earth in the 15th century AD. He explored his home planet by way of its seas. Barrett tells me he was quite an accomplished explorer. I am inclined to believe it, as that is a compliment Barrett normally reserves for himself. Some data from my time on Earth's moon remains deep in my motherboard, but I do not frequently access it. Very little of what is in those files would prove useful to modern spacefarers. That is correct. I am a first-generation Model A robot. As such, I was manufactured on Earth's moon. Modern lunar robotics products are manufactured elsewhere.
That explains your speech pattern.
Constellation is an exceptionally driven and intelligent group of humans. I would expect nothing less of them. You may ask me anything. I am programmatically incapable of keeping secrets. That is a difficult question to parse. I do not experience human emotions such as enjoyment. However, I have been kept busy since Constellation acquired me. That satisfies my directive to be as helpful as possible for the duration of my existence. In a geographical sense, the Lodge cannot be missed. It is easily accessible from the New Atlantis spaceport. But I presume that you are using miss in this context to mean long for. In which case, my answer is no. I long for nothing. Barrett, however, regularly complains about missing the Lodge's amenities during our travels. This has led me to the conclusion that it is a place worth missing. I have not taken your questions anywhere, Captain. Literally or otherwise. Your vital signs indicate that you were not amused by this attempt at humor. Noted. I will tweak my linguistic processors accordingly.
Please do. You know, guys, actually my major, my master's degree was actually robotic artificial linguistics. How to teach an artificial intelligence to speak human language, to understand it, learn it like a baby does, you know? But due to unforeseen tragic circumstances in my life...
Captain, you seem to be experiencing a lapse in gross motor skill functionality.
It stopped at master's degree and didn't go further. If things went smoothly without a problem that I have encountered, I would have done a lot of great work, published at least 20-30 books, and probably been working at MIT or DARPA or something.
Understood.
Honest as I can be.
Lunar Robotics is a manufacturing company. They are most notable for creating Model A robots. Their headquarters was once located on Earth's moon. It was evacuated during the cataclysm that rendered Earth uninhabitable. Today, Lunar Robotics products are still found throughout the settled systems, myself included.
Earth was devastated. Why they evacuated moon? That is weird writing.
It is impossible to read Barrett. He is neither a book nor a block of code. If you are asking for a summary of my observations on his behavior, I will provide one. Barrett has not shared many personal details with me. He finds me a poor conversation partner, despite repeated attempts on his part. I do not understand the concept of gossip. My internal clock tells me that it has been years since Barrett and I began traveling together. I have traveled much of the settled systems in his company. No, I was manufactured by a machine. However, Barrett has modified my programming substantially. I have advanced linguistic capability and navigational skills. I warned him that I would require an extra millisecond to process information with his modifications, but he did not seem to mind. Apparently, my capacity for conversation makes me a more entertaining travel companion. I have only seen Barrett kill his enemies. If you do not number among them, I surmise it was accidental. What you are suffering from is likely a bad first impression. I suggest consulting Barrett on the issue at once. Barrett tells me a bad first impression is the hardest thing to break. I believe that is because he has never tried to break a diamond. Based on my understanding of Barrett, I believe he would be flattered by that assessment. I find you to be a more measured and logical captain than Barrett. It would be quite difficult for another human to be more reckless than him. My likelihood of expiration due to corporeal destruction has been significantly reduced since coming aboard your ship. You should consider this a success.
Damn, that was not a compliment. I mean, he just said it is impossible to be worse than him. That's such a high bar for me.
Please do not hesitate to approach me with further questions.
I have things I wish to discuss with you.
Things? What kind of things? Alright, let's hear it. What's up?
I have been thinking about what we talked about before. The idea of purpose in one's life.
Yeah?
You told me that fun was important.
Exactly.
I assumed you were joking and dismissed it out of hand. But, having thought about it, I wonder now if you were right. Or at least if I were too quick to reject the idea.
Or both.
I have been single-minded in my pursuits. I have always believed the decisions I made were necessary, that there was no other option. I have sacrificed much to be where I am now. And I'm starting to wonder if it has been worth it.
Hey, Dad? Will you read to me tonight before bed?
Read to you? Sure. I'd like that very much. You haven't asked me to do that in a long time.
And will you do funny voices for the characters? Like you used to when I was little?
You just try and stop me.
Doubts have never been something I would consider. I have told you that I am not one to discuss my past. And yet...
You are.
No, that is not what I am trying to say. I promised to provide for my family. That meant working with smugglers to procure supplies we could not acquire any other way. I have spent my adult life away from my home, jumping from one planet to the next, living in dangerous conditions, often surrounded by violence. It certainly influenced the way I see the universe. I was convinced from the beginning that it was unwise to let anyone get too close. I had, maybe not quite friends, but people I cared about. Yet there was always a distance I could not reach across. I often find other people complicated and confusing.
Really?
It seemed easier to not become attached, especially when circumstances meant I might never see them again, with no warning. Until now, I have disagreed strongly with that idea. But therein lies my concern. What I am trying to say is that I now wonder whether it has been the right decision to distance myself from others.
Jesus, Andresha, you have walked a long line to tell me that you want to get closer.
I appreciate that more than you know.
Constellation mission board. Where is that? 25 meters.
Hello again. I was uncertain you would return.
Oh, I have not been here before. Oh, nice. This is a new area. You talked so much. Why didn't you tell me we have this place? Jeez. All the labs we need. It's like a cellar. Locate boiled seas in Alpha. Wow, they pay a lot. A mission to locate planet. Oh, that's why they are paying a lot. A mission to locate a planet trait is the most challenging survey mission. You will need to search an entire solar system for a planet that has the target trait. Interesting. What's in here? Oh. Nope. Master. What's this suit? Yikes. Do. Do.
Shame we cannot just break it open.
Huh. Wow, this is much more powerful than the one I use. Mark 1. Although this is the Constellation official thingy. Let's leave it there for now.
I asked Mateo if we can get a friend for Vasco. He said maybe, but I'm pretty sure he was just saying it. Books. I guess it is. Do you have more books, or can you buy me more books? With real pages, a spine, the whole package. My book allowance is all gone, and Dad... So... book?
Hey, don't let her con you out of more credit.
Dad, this is between us. I like books about quantum theory and astrophysics. Or science. Or horses. Did you know that it wasn't until after the Industrial Revolution that horse speed was the maximum civilization speed for centuries? All of society was built upon horses. Imagine what they must have looked like for real. They look smelly, in a good way. Oh, Dad, you've made the best friend ever.
Well, now you done it. Now you can get pestered about books nonstop.
Yeah, a small price to pay for my education. Now the important question. Pizza. Favorite topping? And please don't say cheese. Dad loves boring old cheese. Did you hear that, Dad? Meat! We have you outnumbered!
We could always get one of each.
No, you lose. I have decided that I will stay. You have the Cora stamp of approval. I, seem to have left my stamp back on Dad's ship, but imagine it there, on your arm. Cora approves.
You had a hell of a shake, getting bullied in the fort. Starborn sure know how to make an entrance. Ready to head back out there? The Eye can help you find the artifacts, but I'm afraid she's blind to our new competitor. No telling the exact number, but they're getting harder to find. Got some equipment, repairs, and upgrades on the making-do list. The Eye's straining to her limits these days. Double-check the safety and locks wherever you go, okay? Exploration's dangerous, even without some nefarious group trying to kill you.
Nice hat.
With the consignment shop closed...
let me know if I may assist you. You won't find a larger array of options in all the settled systems. Would you buy from someone who is not? I know what I like. I have a good sense of what most other people like, and the rest is just making sure they're pleased with their purchase. It's clothing, not grav drive tech. You'll find that I have most everything on offer.
Hmm.
Be my guest. I'm glad you came in.
Maybe I should give them a second chance?
No. I'm not going to do it anyway, but no.
Yeah,
Need something but don't have a lot of time? That's why I'm... You kidding me? Nowhere else like it in the settled systems. First time I came here as a kid, I knew I was gonna come back and make my mark on this city. Nowhere I'd rather be. And now that I've got this place up and running, it's all coming together. Nice and steady. Just the way I like it. I've got a good location, plenty of foot traffic, and a ton of people who are in a hurry and need to make a quick stop for the essentials. Things keep going this way, I'm gonna start opening franchises all over the settled systems. Yeah, let's get you settled. Be seeing you.
Sure hope your day's going as well as mine is.
Holy shit!
So many options.
If I've answered each and every question, may I help? Welcome to Chunks. Please choose your chunks. I just serve the chunks. I don't make them. I'm happy to serve you.
Just want to make the right choice. I wish there was a value meal option.
If you can't decide, maybe move to the side.
There is simply no parallel to the food. I do hope you are enjoying your time in New Atlantis. The Dawn's Roost represents the highest quality, from the ingredients to the decor. No expense is spared. Anyone who has sampled our offerings will assure you it is all worth it. The Dawn's Roost represents anyone who is... My pleasure.
Pancetta? Wow, these things look so yummy. I got hungry. Oh my god, that looks disgusting and delicious at the same time. I am lost for words. Slice of beauty. I wonder how the sauce tastes like. I came to the most expensive restaurant in the Atlantis and bought baguette, which has become a United Nation made humanity's iconic food, whatever.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Although I prefer the baguette they make where I am. They're begging for you to fill them with like meat and stuff.
Are unique to the Roost. You won't find anything like them anywhere else.
Imagine minced meat, minced potato, minced tomato, minced onion, bell pepper, mushroom. They are all minced to tiny, tiny little pieces and then being fried and stirred. And all the juices are so beautifully made. Everything heavy. Then start pouring into the baguette that I mentioned we have here.
There is simply no parallel to the food you will find here. One taste, and I'm sure you'll agree.
Yes, I'm a foodie and also have talent for making food. Or cooking. Where is that news tower? Hold on, when did I get this thing on my face? Did it come with the clothing? Gun shop? Arsenal? Yep. Oh, sniper. No suppressor.
You know, just by walking through that door, you've shown you make good decisions. I like that about you. Welcome to Centurion Arsenal. It is my absolute pleasure to assist you with any purchases or questions you may have. All sales are final, but that won't matter because you will undoubtedly be pleased with your purchase. You have my word.
All right.
Well, that's not a simple question, is it? It all depends on who's asking. I have my own personal favorites, but I wouldn't presume to know yours. Tell me, were you to find yourself in the unfortunate position of needing to use a weapon, what suits you best? Something up close and personal? Rapid fire? Is precision a consideration? Ah, yes. Well, then personally, I would point you towards Combatech. Is that a surprise? These are potentially matters of life and death we're talking about here.
Well, honestly, I'm just trying to see what this conversation lead to. Not my fault that they are stupid. To state the obvious, you know. I'm just trying to see what you would respond and have more time talking with you. Blame the writers.
Please, take a look.
Let's see, what do you have? Oh my god, this is suppressed. Rare rifle. This is such a good rifle. Damn. How much? 24,000. You can buy a ship for that price. Wow. Look at these guns. Classic yet elegant. This is a long barrel Beowulf. I don't have one of these. I need to test it. Yeah, but good sniper. A suppressed shotgun? Are you kidding me? Alright. I have some stuff I need to dump on you. Titanium. Wow. I really like to buy
You're
that
here
gun.
because you need something. Please.
I want this one. No, not buy. They added to the collection. This gun looks cool. Marksman. And it has a suppressor. Darn it. It's too expensive. No. No. Money is not easy to make yet for me. Bye. I need to invest a few points in the trade so I can sell stuff for more. I mean, I'm selling something that costs 6,000 for 200. That's not fair. I need to go to SSNN. Missions. MISC. Invitation. Why the game keeps crashing? What the hell? Something is wrong with my computer. Is it because I updated my driver? I mean, the game makes my computer super heavy. Since I updated my GPU to the latest driver. Price for everything, I guess. I need to do something to get rid of the starting intro if it keeps crashing all the time. So where did it save last? Did it save after I sold all my guns? Didn't put us in a planet. Starborn. Are you kidding me?
Shield generator is completely blown. Shields are available.
Come on, guys!
Shielding system is down.
What the God damn it.
Shields are good to go.
Full engine loss on target.
Roger that.
Our shields are completely offline.
Target's engines are down.
Damn it, their engines are back online. Shield generator repaired. Shields are fully offline.
Give it up.
Our shields are repaired. Enemy's engines are offline.
Damn it. I wonder if we can.
Captain, our grab drive is fully repaired.
I wanted to board them.
Helix green, ready to land. What can I help you with?
Do you need my help?
No, thanks for keeping the ship in one piece.
Did you need something?
Actually, yeah.
I was just thinking about you. I'm happy to help, Captain.
You were? I wanna give you this. And wear this.
Always a pleasure, Captain.
Time to go, lady.
I was beginning to wonder if you hibernate.
Always hibernate.
Why is it that my nose seems to itch only when I cannot remove my helmet to scratch it?
This place is bad. I need to switch your goddamn gear. I love this gear. It makes me run so much. What's over there on the under?
Apparently, when freezing to death, one may experience a warm, cozy feeling. I would prefer not to verify that firsthand.
Jesus. This is an unmarked cave. Nice to know. Yep. Got company. Turret. Great.
Caves like this can be an excellent way to conceal the presence of an illegal operation. I should know.
I should.
Triumphant. Did you need some?
No.
Yes. Goodbye.
Bye. Nickel.
More than enough time in my life in caves. But if there is something to be gained in this one, we should investigate.
Platonia. Yeah. Honestly, so far there's nothing to be gained.
Meet your death.
Jumping can get so annoying.
Best not to leave anything useful behind.
Dear God. What the hell is this place? God, jumping is so annoying. Look at this. Oh, there's an artifact here. How many of them are there? What the hell? Come back, come back, back, back!
Take your best shot.
I want him to be in the open. Essence. What the hell is this place? Huh. That is the lower entrance, I believe. But who put these turrets here? And their lifespan is incredibly high.
There you are. I cannot wait to see you.
Oh. Interesting. There was another weapon case, I think, right? Just the one. There you go. Humanoid. Same pack technologies, same suit, same gun, same mask. These are humans. Probably humans with the same abilities that I have. What happened to him?
cowards.
You have strained my patience. Witness the infinite.
What's happening to them?